why should people even care about improving their breathing, right? We do this naturally. Like, how can it actually help our life before we get into the golf side of things?
Yeah, absolutely. So when our body gets stressed, there's a lot of things that happen, and we kind of feel them as, our heart rate goes up. We might kind of get those butterflies in our stomach, maybe cold, sweaty hands. Like our body just has these natural responses that happen when we get stressed. We'll breathe faster too, but breathing is the only one when you put attention to or control over that you can actually do something about. Breathing works like a metronome for our entire body. So if that metronome is going really fast, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, every physiological function in our body, including our brain, which we're relying on to make good decisions and execute shots when we're out on the golf course, it's going a mile a minute. And if we don't do anything about it, we're going to just stay in that stress state for so long and basically lose access to the skills that we've practiced and we've seen ourselves do 1,000 times on the putting green or the practice tee. And so breathing becomes so important because it's the one thing that we can control, when you're aware of it, when you're not sleeping every minute of every day.
I'm excited to learn more too, because in really the theme of Wicked Smart Golf is better golf without swing changes, and a real kind of sub theme is control what you can. Right? There's a lot we
Hmm.
can't control: the people you get paired with, how you
Right.
wake up that morning, the course conditions. The golf gods sometimes give it to you, give you some good challenges. So it's like we got to control what we can, and breathing definitely is a big one. I have a chapter in my book, but it's a very small chapter, so I'm excited to learn more about this. So what is proper breathing? What does that actually look like? And is it like, I guess, what are some of the mistakes people make to not allow them to breathe properly and receive those benefits?
Yeah, and I think the first place to start, like breathing, is the one thing that we're often told and we've always associated with relieving stress, right?
Hmm.
Michael, you've been told, hey, you look a little stressed. Do me a favor, take a deep breath,
Right.
right? And so when we talk about what people are doing wrong, when we see that one big breath that we're told to take happen, we see this big chest filled breath and this
Yep.
big exaggerated exhale. And that's wrong. And that's what's actually costing us. When we
Interesting. So
talk
that's the
about
wrong way to breathe.
that is the wrong way to breathe.
Okay.
Because when you start to look at it, even just physically, like not even, take into account what's happening with the air intake and the oxygen exchange that's happening, when you're rising up and you're breathing that way, you're only using the upper capacity of your lungs, and your diaphragm, which is your primary breathing muscle, kind of comes up and almost gets in up under your ribs. So we're limiting the amount of air that we're actually able to take. And so when we take those deep breaths and we still feel out of breath or we still feel stressed, it's because we used probably a fraction of our lung capacity and the body wasn't able to do what it truly wants to do when you start to incorporate a deep breath in stressful situations. And so what
Wow. Okay.
one one of the first things that I do with every client, whether I'm working with, a major winner on the PGA Tour or a junior golfer, is start to work on some of those biomechanics just like we do, in our golf swing.
Hmm.
So, golfer, quarterback, soccer player, you name it, we're all breathing throughout these activities that we do. And there's just a fundamentally proper way to breathe. And that's even before we get into how we apply breathing